Are you a musical theater performer and you're ready to step into the next stage of your career? Maybe you are involved in community theater and educational theater and you're ready to step into professional work. Maybe you want to take your union card soon, or maybe you have your union card and you want to focus on a different kind of work than you're doing right now. So being a professional musical theater artist simply means you are a performer who gets paid to do your thing. And there are a lot of ways that you can encourage that to happen. If you're new here, my name is Dan Calloway. I teach music theater, voice, and vocal pedagogy at Boston Conservatory at Berklee. I've performed in union houses for more than 25 years, and I've helped theater singers get to work on Broadway, in national tours, and in the regions for more than 15 years. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the things that you can start doing today that will move you into work in musical theater that feels satisfying, exciting, and gets you paid. So when I was a senior in high school, I got an Elon College magazine in the mail. It was 1995, so all college materials came via the postal service, horse and cart, you know. I was just thinking the other day how when I was applying for colleges, you always look for like the size of the envelope. You know, if you got a small envelope, you were afraid that you were not accepted into an institution. So that was always the indicator. Now there's you don't know from your emails, do you? But anyway, we had a little bit more warning when things came in the mail. But yeah, the Elon College magazine. So inside this magazine was a feature article about the musical theater program at Elon that had just started about 5 years before then. And so I learned about students in this program that went to theaters during the summer, performed in shows, and then they received paychecks for performing in these shows. And I thought, you can get paid to dance in a cowboy hat in the Will Rogers Follies at the Hayden Theater in upstate New York. I thought, I want to do that. So it was really a light bulb for me. I knew people got paid for it, but I think seeing students doing it told me that maybe I could do it as well. And so the next year I found myself in the freshman class of Elon College's growing musical theater program. I worked hard, and that spring I managed to get an offer to be an apprentice at Seaside Music Theater in Daytona Beach, Florida, at 150 bucks a week and classes. You got classes as well. I was even voted most improved apprentice that summer, definitely because I had the furthest distance to travel. But that was the summer, 1997, when I technically became a professional actor. It was also the summer that my mom stopped asking me what I was going to double major in at school. So how do you go pro, or how do you change the kind of pro that you are as a musical theater performer? Unfortunately, Seaside Musical Theater ceased operations several years ago, so the apprentice program is not a current option. But I have a few steps for you that will get your mind and soul lined up with clarity and move your body into the place where work and possibility can happen. You'll have a clear blueprint of things that you have agency over that will actually serve you and your desire to work as a musical theater performer. So before you fling yourself headlong into selling your vintage playbill collection so you can afford voice lessons and headshots, I have some questions for you. And these questions are the first steps that you need to take before you embark on your adventure through the wilds of open calls and casting director workshops. And the first question can feel paralyzingly huge. Are you ready? I'll ask it in a helpful way though. What are your reasons? What are your reasons for pursuing a career that includes all the difficult things that an actor's life features? What are your reasons to tell stories, to sing songs, to dress up like other people and pretend to be them in dark rooms where people buy tickets and agree to pretend that you're someone else too? So what is this whole thing about for you? And take some time to let these things occur to you and own the reasons that you might not want to share with everybody, like applause feels amazing and I like to sing loud and high and be impressive. Or if I'm on Broadway before my Stage Door Manor summer camp nemesis then I will have been victorious. Things like that. I never thought things like that, did I? I didn't go to Stage Door Manor, so I couldn't have thought that. But really take your motives out and just look at them and observe them with curious compassion, because they'll give you a lot of information about your why, about why you want to do it. And it's always important to question this fire that burns in your guts that loves tech rehearsals and reading audition notices and hearing the orchestra play for the first time at a sitz probe. Now, take your reasons one layer deeper, and I want you to ask yourself about the P word. The P word. I'm talking about purpose. When you imagine yourself many years from now about to exit the earthly plane, what will you want to have been true about your life? And are show tunes a part of that? One thing that I've found that is one overarching purpose of my life is to walk next to folks and help them to heal. Theater singing just happens to be the medium that I get to do that with. So you will find a lot of your life's meaning and purpose. They will reveal themselves not so much in what you're doing, but in how you do things. You may find that what you love about performing is connecting with other people, and life may show you all kinds of other places where a connection like that can happen. So that's step number one. I want you to open your heart to embracing your purpose as you can understand it right now. It's always something that I keep asking myself about, and it is a constant discovery. But once you've owned what you'd like your time on the planet to be about and determined that part of that needs to include I want songs, there is another question that you need to ask yourself. I know you probably just want the strategies. I always just want the strategies, but if you head off full steam, taking prescribed actions without that internal fire and focus examined, your effort is going to meet some pretty choppy water. So I'll explain using a central principle of musical theater singing. So let's talk about My Fair Lady. If you're playing Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, the way you sing, Wouldn't It Be Loverly, is going to be determined by many factors. And a primary factor is, who do you believe you are? Who is the person who sings this song? How do you speak? And what do you believe about the world? How do you see the world through your eyeballs as Eliza? So if you start singing All I Want Is a Room Somewhere with, say, a German dialect, folks might be confused or think that there's a high concept going on that they don't quite understand. I guess I have to do it now that I said it right. All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air. Is one enormous chair, oh, wouldn't it be lovely? All right. So if you started singing All I Want Is a Room Somewhere in a German dialect, folks would be confused, or they would think that you're doing some sort of like Brechtian high concept My Fair Lady, maybe. I don't know. A German dialect is incongruent with Eliza's identity. But if you zoom forward in the story when you're singing Without You, when you're singing that to Henry Higgins, your concept of yourself has changed. You have tools of expression and social savvy at your disposal, and now, coupled with your fine mind and emotional development, the professor is now no match for you. So the flower seller at the top of the show, dreaming of a coal-fired stove and chocolate, had all the potential to be this towering lady, and it was already true in your complete timeline. So look, that's Eliza's timeline that you see, and the same is true for you. When I was 18 years old, I did not know that one day I'd get to teach at a terrific conservatory, but that was true of my total life timeline. I just hadn't arrived at the event yet. The same is true for you. Every artist you admire was once a novice at their craft, and they had to learn and fail and stumble forward. Their artistry was present inside them, waiting for cultivation, and the reality of the way that they would contribute to the world was also present, though yet to be expressed. For me, for you, for any artist, the same is true. So you are only a series of practices away from skill mastery, from wholehearted confidence, from satisfying sharing of the art that you long to make. That facet of you exists now. You're just on a different part of your timeline as you're on your way. So what if you allowed the identity of who you know you'll become, what if you allow that identity to plant a seed in you now and start growing? Knowing who you are will determine what you're going to do. It can really only come out of who you are. Every character you play makes choices based on self-concept and who they understand themselves to be. So Eliza in Act 1, she howls and rails and screams at Professor Higgins. Act 2, Eliza is a very different personality structure. She is in command of her emotions and herself when she meets him again. So the next question I'd like you to noodle on based on that is, who are you being right now? If you know you're going to be it in a few years' time, why not quietly be it now while you travel? If you know that, then you will make confident, clear choices that harmonize with your purpose. If you can rest quietly in your identity as a loving, generous, and skillful performer. All right, now that you've got your noggin paying attention to what your life's purpose is about and letting your identity quietly and peacefully percolate in you, you're ready to do some assessment and tabulation. And in order to do this in a helpful way, there is a trap you need to avoid. When you were in school, you learn things and you take tests. You listen, you take lecture notes, you study your textbook, and then you synthesize your learning into essay format on 4 to 6 pieces of paper called a test. You learned the thing, right? I did these things and I earned the requisite letters on report cards, and I'm here to tell you, I could not tell you much about Ralph Ellison's themes in Invisible Man or Voltaire's primary works. I mean, I could tell you about Candide because it's a musical. Now, listen, I value my education. I really disagree with folks who say our schools teach kids things they don't ever need in life. And yes, there actually is truth there. I mean, I have not used the Pythagorean theorem a lot in my last 2 decades, but this comes back to the question of how and not what. How you're doing something and not what you're doing. I was blessed with really good teachers, so I learned how to study and to bring information together and make meaning out of it. I did learn to recognize the themes in Invisible Man and to imagine myself in the shoes of Ellison's character. I did learn to ask what led Voltaire to write what he did and how his cultural context influenced him. So it wasn't about the facts I learned as much as learning a way to learn. But the trap here is that just because I wrote down the answer on a test sheet doesn't mean that I incorporated, literally got it into my body, incorporate. I did not incorporate the knowledge so that I could share and teach and perform it. I could understand I needed to press the clutch in order to change gears in a manual transmission, but getting my yellow Mustang not to roll back on the stoplight hill on Independence Boulevard required some procedural memory to be laid down in my muscles and my neurons. That took practice and actual embodiment. So we do this as performers all the time. Like, oh yeah, play the action, raise the stakes, look at my imaginary partner, okay, sure. Or breathe low, resonate here, only think about the story, forget technique, okay. Or all the other, play the opposite, make a choice, be authentic. We know these things in our heads, but then we're frustrated when we go into a room and think we're doing the thing, and there's no feedback in the form of callbacks or interaction with the table folk wanting to explore more, or even just emotional resonance that you can feel. You can really feel if people are listening or if their hearts are open or responding to you. Now look, that's not always a trustworthy gauge. People book jobs all the time after leaving a room thinking they blew it. So, I wish there were a clearer science, but you can still feel if people are with you, So after Yeah, I think that's true. I'm just going through all the exceptions in my head, but But after you audition and perform long enough, you develop a sense as to whether what you're sharing resonates with the people you're sharing with. But the trap is that just because you understand a concept in your brain doesn't mean that you are effectively executing it. This is where your tabulations and calculations come into play. I need my calculator, my adding machine with tape rolls. Yeah. But what skills do you feel confident that you have? How do you feel when they ask you to sing a ballad? Do you love getting the sides for a scene and getting to work? Does your heart leap when someone says, we'd like to see you in the dance call? Honestly, for a long time, all I wanted to do was sing. And even that had complications. So I felt insecure with the talking part of acting. And even though I worked very hard in dance classes, I did not have confidence picking up choreography or skill. I mean, I wasn't confident because I didn't have the skill. So that's why I got myself into the best acting classes I could find. I wanted to make this connection of storytelling and singing, and from singing into talking and talking into singing. And I wanted to feel confident when I didn't have notes and rhythms giving me rules and telling me what to do. And for me, I also decided not to lean heavily after a while. I decided not to lean heavily on my dance training because I noticed that for me, the roles that I played, the question was going to be, okay, can he move well enough? And often the answer was yes. And sometimes it was a hard no. I did get several no thank yous after less than stellar dance calls. It happened. It wasn't my area of specialty. I worked hard and I had enough training at it, but I realized that wasn't going to be my area of emphasis. It wasn't where I naturally was going to shine. But I looked at what I did well, and I continued to strengthen that through voice lessons and coaching, and I saw the gaps that I had as an actor, and I went to work with terrific teachers, and I read the best books that I could find, and then I applied what I was reading. And I did the best I could with the dancing, but I did not purchase class cards at Broadway Dance Center. And it wasn't what I chose to feature on, and I was really all right with that. The actual gift of my dance training is understanding how to teach dancers to sing and the helpful things about dance technique that actually support good singing. I think I'll actually do a video about that. There are a lot of dancers walking around who've been told their dance training keeps them from singing well, and that's not true at all. And that makes me sad. So I think I'll make a video for the amazing dancers who sing well. The dancer-singers, the singer-dancers. Yeah, we always like to put each other in cubby holes, don't we? It's not good. So that is the step, a clear and honest assessment of your current skills, what comes naturally to you, what is a struggle, what do you need to strengthen in order to give yourself the gift of confidence as you put your body and heart into the professional arena. So now that you're equipped with the information, you can take your next step. I'm going to give you a straight up quote from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, here because I think he said it best. And here's the quote. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And what I mean is this, if I desire to have clean dishes, I need to wash my dishes. There needs to be a system in place that ensures dishes get washed, dried, and put away. My desire for clean dishes alone will not ensure their upkeep. If I want my teeth to be healthy, I need to have a system that ensures I brush and floss every day. And if I want to be a vibrant, wholehearted actor who's confident with a few pages of sides in my hand, I need to set up a system that leads me there. If I want to pick up choreography and trust myself to get new information into my body, I need to set up a way to get there over time and show up for it. And if I want to rely on that transitional zone in my voice on certain vowels, I need to seek out the ways to balance that so that it works when I'm adrenalized. I need something I can do as regularly as toothbrushing to get me to this place. And I need to accept that I am going to be clumsy, awkward, and inept as I learn. I'm going to be bad. I have to give myself permission to begin. It's hard. And then you know, your brain goes to all these places. Kids are mean, I might get a bad grade, and that will ruin my future. Like that school thought that you have, oh, I'm terrible in math, so forget math, or I'll never be good at soccer, I'm going to quit soccer. And you're surrounded with this system that says if you know something, then you have it. If you're not good at it immediately, you might as well quit and you're just bad at it. And there's a lot of ridicule surrounding it as well. So it keeps us stuck from ever giving ourselves permission to actually have a period of growth in which we can actually give ourselves grace and a high standard to learn. And I invite you to use your creativity and your ingenuity about your system creation, especially when it comes to your financial investment, because training often requires investment, almost always. But what if you're struggling just to make your rent every month, which is a huge reality if you're living somewhere like New York City? So I have ideas for you. I have solutions. So here's solution or idea one. How can you be a better actor when you talk? My problem, yeah. So do you have friends that are good at acting when they talk? Do you like and trust them? So invite them to your place, give them snacks, and ask them if you can do a few acty activities. So these include reading a play together, mining sides from your favorite plays and shows, and taking turns reading and offering feedback. You can break out some monologues. They are still a thing that happen. So this will set you back the price of fizzy water and some nice Trader Joe's crackers and cheese. Make it a monthly meeting and see how it goes, and you will get better. And so, okay, there's your acting component. What about dancing? Who do you know that's good at it? Who knows some original choreography or creates their own choreography? What if you got 7 friends to go in on a studio rental and asked your dancer friends to lead a combination pickup class for an hour and a half? You could do that once a week. It could even become a little income generator for you once word got out, And singing. All right, I know singing lessons can get really expensive. So this is what I do sometimes. When I'm working on a song, I'll air it out in front of my students at the conservatory in studio class, and I will ask them for feedback. And you know what? They always help me. I am 46, they are 21, and they always help. So friends whose opinions you value and who you feel safe around. Again, get a group of 5 to 7 of you, pool your funds for a small room and a pianist, and help each other out, or even get together in your living room with Bluetooth speakers. You will learn and you will grow, and you'll be getting better at singing in front of folks. Singing in front of folks, feeling their responses, and knowing what you can access while you are adrenalized. Often singing in front of people is trickier than even singing in an audition room. So if you can work effectively in that setting, you're building really incredible muscles. And again, it's going to cost you like snacks if you do it at your house, right? All of these things cost very little money, and they can be hugely effective. So the people you invite are also very important here. You need to know that you respect their opinion and you trust them, and that they're safe people. And you need to be that for the people around you as well. Get the systems going. Every time you show up for yourself and your friends, you're doing another thing that James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits. You are casting a vote for the identity you want to live. Every action is a vote for that identity. So that one that you planted that's growing, that every one of those actions puts water and fertilizer on that seed. When inviting your friends for scene study, you're an actor who gets to work. You read plays, you hash out sides, you craft monologues, you gather other actors together and you feed them. You are a dancer who goes to the studio consistently. You get in front of the mirror and you go to work. You let yourself grow and fall and you get back up. And you've made a place for artists to come together to do the same. You're a singer who sings in front of folks all the time. You grow in your sense of communication and connection. You let yourself find where your technical hurdles are, and you find exercises to help you be more balanced and efficient. So, all right, you're open-hearted to what you want to be true in your life. You're thinking in a purposeful direction. You're curious about who you want to be, and you're letting future you take root in present you. You're looking clear-eyed at what's working well in your skill set and what you want to strengthen. And you've set up and show up for the skill building systems you've created. When your skills are at a level that you want to represent your work, you're ready for the next step. And it's a multifaceted one that will need its own video. But I'll give you the structure now so that you can get going on it and be on the lookout for a more detailed breakdown in the future. This framework is going to open all kinds of possibility for you and make your vision of what it is to be a musical theater performer much more expansive. You may have heard someone say that your job as an actor is auditioning. I hear that, but I don't remember one time when I got paid for an audition. And whenever I've done a job, I've expected pay. So let me back up. Auditioning is indeed part of the activity matrix an actor signs up for when they decide to make the theater central in their professional life. But it is only one part of an entire ecosystem that will create a vibrant artist life that generates meaningful relationships and work. This collaboration you're going to build is like a dancing trinity of three interdependent members. And now that you have your training systems running, you're ready to build your professional systems. So you have your training systems in place, and now you're going to build kind of a flywheel of professional systems. And your processes for getting to work need to support these three goals, these three factors, these three dancers in this circle dance. Number one, people have to know who you are. It's very simple, but as one who likes to hide from way back, this can be very difficult when you kind of want to stay hidden and you're longing for someone fancy to point at you and say, "You there. Yes, you with the very special hidden talents. You're terrific. You should be on the stage." That didn't happen to me. So now you're going to be thinking about the systems you need so that people who put folks in shows know who you are. And guess what? You've already been cultivating this by getting folks together in rooms to read plays, dance dances, and sing songs. You're acting in a spirit of contribution and creating places for your fellow artists to connect. So, well done. And now it's time to think about specific ways that you can let folks know you're there. I'll go into specific steps on this in a future video, okay? So, number two, as you're introducing yourself to folks, you also need to ensure folks like you. Okay, now, before I go down the path of People Pleasers Anonymous, of which I am a charter member, let me say one thing. Everybody's not going to like you. Everyone's not going to like me. And what people think about you and what people think about me is none of your or my business. It's not my business. And when I get major command over this truth, I will let you know, but it is a liberating truth and one that I really want you to absorb. You have to give people the freedom to think what they think about you, and so do I. Now, the thing that you do have control over and what is authentic and satisfying for you is how much warmth you choose to share with people. Warmth means that you are open-hearted and wholehearted. Warmth means that you tap into the joy that's inside you, whatever that may be about. Warmth means you might let a smile emerge from inside you when you're interacting with people. It's really about the intention to invite people in. Let folks know that they are welcome and safe in your space and that you are creating a hospitable zone for them, and that when you do that, you will exude warmth and welcome. And if you think about what other folks need and you do your best to provide solutions for that, then someone would really have to be, kind of an asshole not to give you credit for it. And again, let people make up their own minds. People are going through what they're going through, and you do your best. And again, I will let you know when I have that conquered, but we'll work on it together, okay? And number three, so people need to know you, people need to like you, and folks need to trust you. This is a product of your skill. I will trust you when you demonstrate to me that you prepare, that you sing well, that you connect to the story with authenticity, you take adjustments, you come off book with your sides, you pick up combinations relatively quickly and infuse dance calls with story and an open heart. I will trust you when you show up on time for appointments. I trust you when you are open and available to adjustments and feedback, when you collaborate. I trust you when you send me a postcard on a consistent basis. I know that you are a person who follows through and has systems in your life. So again, go back and look at your skills gaps, review your system, and cast a vote for the person who sings with confidence and remembers choreography. So all of your auditioning, outreach, concerts, volunteering, all of this is going to come under the umbrella of this dance of three parts. Letting yourself be known about encountering the world with warmth and demonstrating your skills as solutions to people's problems. If you are taking care of those things, then all kinds of terrific results are going to show up in the jobs you get and in the opportunities that show up really unexpectedly, and all the people who are going to want to work with you because you're creating love and collaboration around you. People love that. People love to tell other people about people who do that. So going pro, becoming a professional, means that you earn money from your storytelling. If you put together a show and folks show up and pay to see you, you're a pro. You don't need someone else to come along and dub you a professional actor. Yes, it feels great to be chosen by someone. And guess who else it feels great to be chosen by? Yourself. Again, this comes back to your who, your identity. If you are busy being a generative artist, letting folks know what you're up to, reaching out with warmth and kindness, and continually building your skill, then opportunities are going to come. And you never know what's going to grow into something. I mean, Ted Lasso, one of my favorite TV shows, grew out of an idea from a commercial, and it became something very beautiful. So you never know what one of your friends might think up while you're reading a play in your living room, eating a carrot stick and hummus or guacamole or peanut butter. I like peanut butter on carrot sticks. So that's your framework. Be constantly curious about your purpose on this planet and what you want to be true by the time you are leaving your physical body. Because the last time I checked, it happens to all of us. Our days are short, and that becomes clearer and clearer the older you get. So make it clear to yourself now. When you have a good frame, you work around your purpose and then ask yourself who you are and who you want to be. Get a clear vision of future you and plant the seeds inside you and let future you live and grow quietly inside you as you travel from A to B. And as you do that, identity will clarify and fuel every action you take in service of the work that you want to do as a theater artist. Then you take a clear and very honest inventory of your current skills. What comes naturally? What do you feel very confident with? And what do you need to make stronger? What do you want to bolster? And then equipped with that information, you set up systems. You set up a training system that will build your skill, that will support and strengthen the things you already do well, and that will shore up the things that you feel weak in. And remember that you don't have to be great at everything. Focus in on the things that you're going to be hired for and bring other things to a standard where you feel comfortable to be called upon to do them. Okay? So really focus on the things that you naturally shine in and bring everything else to the standard where you can feel confident in working on them. And once your training systems are in place and you're on track with those, then start to think about the actions that are available to you where you can be known, liked, and trusted. How can you introduce yourself in your sphere and make sure people know you're there? How can you invite people in to your zone and know that you yourself are a warm and hospitable, welcoming place to be? And then how can you demonstrate skill and ability to solve people's problems? Directors need great storytellers for their plays, and audiences need great storytellers for their lives. And remember, you can make yourself a professional actor. You don't have to wait for someone to come along and decide that you are. That comes back to who you are. Let the who that you're going to be live in you now. And take a look at what you do well at this moment and create a way to share that with people. Invite folks, sell some tickets, and when you generate an income from it, then you're a pro. And the ironic thing is that once you start doing that for yourself, you're much more likely to be offered other avenues of telling stories and singing songs and receiving remuneration for it. Remuneration. It's a tough one. I had to think about that word, but that's getting paid. And side note, if creating your own work is something that you're interested in, but you don't know where to start, I created a video about some of the ways that I crafted the last show that I did at Green Room 42. And you can find that right here to give you some structure and ideas of how you can go about making your own work. All right. Most of all, I want you to remember that there is empirically, objectively, and truly only one you, and somebody does need to hear the story that only you can sing. I'll see you the next time. Love much.